We got some breaking news out of the NBA where the three-time MVP, when it comes to Nikola Jokic, is going to miss a next month with a knee injury. A sigh of relief for a lot of fans out there after seeing this scene last night. But that, of course, is according to ESPN this morning. Jokic hyperextended his left knee in last night's loss in Miami. Take a look at it there, that left knee kind of buckling and then going down in pain. The good news is that Jokic reportedly avoided any catastrophic damage to that knee, was averaging better than 29 points a game while leading the league in both rebounds and assists. You hate to see it, but it is a good sign, Nuggets fans. He will be out for a month when it comes to that, and this is what you'll be missing. I mean, pretty much possibly on a run for another MVP. Looking at this right now, top 5 in points per game, just under 30 clip there. And then rebounds, assists, double-doubles, and triple-doubles. Came off that 56-point triple-double just a couple days ago. That is top in the association. So, of course, this is now on the shelf when it comes to Nikola Jokic. All right, for more of this breaking news, I want to bring in my guy Sam Quinn. And first, a little sigh relief for us as basketball fans, too, because he won't be gone the entire season or even longer than that. Your reaction to that news?
Yeah, it's the best case scenario, right? Watching live, you're worried about an ACL. You're worried about something that's going to keep him out for the entire season. Look, a month isn't ideal, especially with 3 other starters hurt in Denver. But you take a month all day considering what we saw. Look, I know the West is very, very deep. There's a very clear divide between that top 6 and those play-in teams. Right now, they're 3 games ahead of Phoenix at number 7, 5.5 games ahead of Golden State at number 8. They're probably going to slip while Jokic is out. But if he's back at the beginning of February, you'd figure they'd be able to at least climb their way back up into the top 6, make sure they don't have to go through the play-in tournament. And hey, if you're going to be in the top 6, it might actually be better to be number 6 than to be number 4 or 5, because that way you can avoid Oklahoma City until the conference finals. So I'm not prepared to call this a blessing in disguise, obviously, but this is easily the best case scenario they could have hoped for considering what we saw last night.
What does this team look like for the next month without their star in Jokic? Of course, we've seen splashes of Jamal Murray, of course, maybe vintage what we saw from in the bubble in the past couple years and in that postseason run. What does this team look like with him out on the floor for the next month?
Well, fortunately, they've actually played better without Nikola Jokic this year than they have in the past. Now, that's a very, very low bar, and they're also going to be without three starters for the time being. Aaron Gordon obviously has been hurt, Christian Brown as well. Cam Johnson just got hurt recently. So we're going to have to see when those guys come back. But Jamal Murray playing at an all-star level really helps. This is the best regular season of his career to date. He probably is going to make his first all-star team, ironically become the first all-star teammate that Nikola Jokic has ever had while Nikola Jokic is hurt. But I think they'll be able to at least, tread water. Having Valanciunas as look, there's no such thing as a like-for-like replacement for Jokic, but somebody who can play stylistically similar, who you can run some offense through. I think that will keep them at least somewhat afloat. They're not going to play these, 18 games between now and the end of January and go 2-16 because they don't have Jokic. If you can go 6-10, something like that, 7-9, just stay afloat, I think they'll be okay.
2-16, that sounds so crazy, Sam, that there's a possibility without their star. Because we just saw the numbers and what he does. He's pretty much first in everything. But if you are the Nuggets, you don't want to rush your star back. Of course, we're saying close to a month here. How slow do you play this, getting your star back, of course, thinking postseason?
Yeah, I would be as conservative as possible. Remember, in the middle of February, you do have the All-Star break. So if you want to take it to 6 weeks, you got a little bit of extra time there. I don't think seeding is especially important for Denver. We saw them take Oklahoma City to 7 last year. If they're healthy, with Michael Porter Jr. playing with one arm, maybe they would have been able to win that game on the road. I don't think the Nuggets are worried about winning a Game 7 on the road. What matters is getting Jokic back healthy for the playoffs. Don't rush it. Play it as conservatively as possible. I don't think Jokic is going to weep about missing the All-Star game if that's where this goes. So just take it as slowly as possible. I don't think seeding matters. Just make sure he's good to go when it counts.
How far do they slip? I know you hinted at it a little bit. If we're looking at the top 6 here, outside of them at 4, you have Houston, you have the Lakers, Minnesota, and then we get to 7 with Phoenix there. Do they slip outside that top 6 and then maybe get back to them? How does that happen?
Yeah, I think at the very least for now, they're pretty vulnerable to Phoenix at number 7. Golden State at 5.5. They're starting to play a little bit better. It's been a very up and down season for Golden State. The key for the Warriors at number 8 is that on January 15th, they can trade Jonathan Kuminga, which I think we all assume is coming. If they do that, maybe they improve pretty quickly like they did with Jimmy Butler last year, and they give Denver a real run for its money there. But if he's back in the middle of February, beginning of February, you'd figure that's 2 months left of regular season. They don't care about seeding, but they'll probably want to be in the top 6 just to avoid the play-in. I don't think they're going to fall far enough that getting back into the top 6 is going to be a problem. I think anything like finishing number 2 or number 3 is probably going to be a bridge too far, given how good San Antonio's been and Houston's been. But again, you'd probably rather be 6 than 4 or 5. That's how you avoid Oklahoma City in the second round. You hope maybe, if San Antonio is in that, that 4 or 5 range, maybe they have to play against the Thunder in the second round. Maybe somebody can take care of Oklahoma City for you. So I think if they get back to 6, they'll chalk that up as a win. I think that's entirely doable given where they are.
Sam, you see the odds here when it comes to the NBA Finals. They are second at plus 850, and you kind of hinted at it. It's almost a waiting game with the Joker. But if this does get out of hand, do they make a move, or do they just wait around until he gets back? And maybe just something just to supplement the time that he's gone. You can't replace him, but is there a chance they may make a move until he returns?
I think it's unlikely, just given where they are from a financial standpoint. Right now, they're just above the luxury tax, and looming next year is just an absolutely monster tax bill when they have the Christian Brown extension coming in, maybe a new deal for Peyton Watson. I think they're going to be cautious here. I think their primary motivator going into the trade deadline is going to be, can we get below the tax and maybe clear out a roster spot in case somebody good becomes available through a buyout? I think they'd be interested in, say, like a CJ McCollum, if he were to get a buyout from Washington. But I think generally getting below the tax is going to be their big motivator at the deadline. And then if the right player becomes available through a buyout, then they'd reconsider that.
All right, leave my Wizards alone. We're trying to build something, Sam. Everybody picks on my Wizards. Leave us alone, okay? Leave CJ where he is. He is happy. All right, the Denver's, they're good. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Sam Quinn, as always, appreciate your time tapping on that breaking news. Nikola Jokic, all the fans, look, he will be back in a month or maybe a little bit longer, but as it stands right now, you are second when it comes to association and favorites to win the NBA Finals, behind the defending champs and the OKC Thunder at minus 105, then the Nuggets at 850. The Knicks 11-1 is your top 3 odds to win it all.
On these third downs when he sees pressure.
Young has those 2 young wide receivers.